I shall open my OneNote app. Tom Holland, I gotta tell you. Not happy about going this place without maps. That does not sound anything like Mark Wahlberg. I was nailing it earlier.
You fucking... No, it's there. You gotta,
something with the breathing.
You gotta breathe. Just be sad and angry.
Tom, I'm telling you. I don't want to go somewhere that doesn't have my own maps. I know I used to be in Spider-Man and all, but this really freaks me out. You're going to take both these crosses. You're going to go with Chloe Fraser. And a shithole. It's got more leaks than the Filipino Navy.
Jesus Christ.
It's not good, though. I don't think it's very good.
Yo, no. It's there.
I had it, too.
It's there. You fucking killed me the other day. It just was so off the cuff. It was... I thought I was about to die.
I like the idea of Wahlberg calling Tom Holland Tom Holland.
Yeah.
All the time.
Tom Holland. That's because Tom Holland calls Wahlberg Mr. Stark.
Listen, I'm telling you, Tom Holland.
Oh, gee, Mr. Stark.
Yeah.
I'm Butters.
The Butters of fucking actors.
The Butters of actors, Tom
fucking
Holland.
Ruben Fleischer was like, what if we got Butters Stotch to play Indiana Jones? Do you think that would go over well?
Oh, gee whiz, Mr.
And apparently with audiences it did. Not so much with critics, but...
Yeah.
Hi, welcome to the Low Ceiling.
Hi, Butters.
I'm Sully Sullivan.
Oh, you're fucking killing it.
I don't know if this helicopter can lift a Spanish galleon, Tom Holland. Tom, I'm really worried.
Tom?
It's so bad. It's so bad. I'm sorry.
It's there. It's there.
I don't think I don't think it is. Once I go in ape shit.
You're going crazy with that one.
I'm going ape shit over this film, over this work of cinema.
We're talking Uncharted.
Uncharted. We are doing basically an entire month of the films of the great director who I admire greatly, who I think has done nothing but quality films.
Hell yeah.
Ruben Fleischer. The Fleischman. Fleischman is in trouble, baby. He's certainly in trouble making this movie.
Guy. It is this
now,
guy.
I don't want to be too hard on the guy. I don't like Ruben Fleischer's movies generally.
Yeah.
I watched 10 minutes of Zombieland 2 and it was so intolerable. And I have to say, I liked Zombieland 1.
It's not
but
for
now
everyone.
I'm kind of like, maybe I was a fucking idiot. I don't know if I would go back and like it again. But
who was it that made you be like, I'm going to stop watching now? Was it just generally all of them together?
I think, if I'm recalling correctly, Zombieland 2 is written by Reese and Wernick, who wrote Deadpool 1? Or, and I could be wrong about this too, what would be even more egregious and surprising was it was written by the guys who wrote 21 Jump Street.
Oh,
which,
dude.
as I have said, is the funniest film ever made.
Oh, for sure.
So it would be really surprising
if
I
them.
really didn't like the writing of it. But the first time I just found it intolerable. I was like, I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm just not 22 anymore, but I hate this. I think it sucks. I think it's stupid. Fuck you, Woody Harrelson.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I love you.
Yeah.
But I remember liking Zombieland 1. Totally fine movie. Do you like that movie?
I don't even remember it. Is it the
I
one
barely remember it too.
With K-Stu and Mark
No,
Zuckerberg, or is
that's
it the one
Adventureland.
that's
Mark
fucking
Zuckerberg.
Yeah, okay, that's Adventureland.
Zombieland is when Mark Zuckerberg and Woody Harrelson go on an adventure with zombies. Emma Stone.
Is there a Bill Murray?
Bill Murray lives in a mansion.
Yes.
Zombieland is Harrelson, Zuckerberg, Emily Stone,
I remember that.
and Abigail Breslin.
I remember that.
Yeah.
It's a one-time watch. It was perfectly, strictly okay, right down the middle film.
Yeah.
It's not one that's like going to stay with you.
Then Gangster Squad came out. That movie is bad. It's out in theaters. It's bad. Not a good movie. Then he hits with Venom. Kinda.
Does he hit?
Well, Venom is at least fun and is saved by the fact that Tom Hardy is in it, and Tom Hardy kind of talented enough to save most movies. And also I like how Venom has Michelle Williams in it for some reason, because Michelle Williams is like
the opposite of joy.
Anything I touch, I would get nominated for an Academy Award
because of tears.
But I want to do Venom 1 and 2.
What the fuck? Because that's exactly what she sounds like.
That's exactly her.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't know, Tom Hardy. I don't think Venom's a good guy.
My name's Michelle.
I don't know about this symbiote.
Oh shit.
So at least Ruben Fleischer, he casts his movies. He gets good people. He's worked with Gosling, worked with Stone a couple times, worked with Zuckerberg a few times. And for this movie, Uncharted, he casts the biggest fucking sinking stone of an actor. No offense to you, Tom Holland. You're not good in this shit. You're not good in this movie.
Look, I think the problem is with Tom Holland's face. And
whoa.
Look,
okay.
I don't mean like his physical. I just mean he looks like he's almost never going to be able to look like a fully grown man. You can't, even in Cherry, it's hard to believe that he's trying to play an adult, kind of. What other thing has he done that we know him from outside of 1,000 Spider-Mans?
Cherry is a not a good movie, but it's not a terrible movie. But another big problem with that film is Tom Holland.
Exactly.
And one of the problems with Tom Holland is that he's addicted to fucking crack, and yet he looks like the cutest little baby boy that you want to just squeeze his little cheeks. Now,
coming back to me saying that he is not able to look like a grown man, and that's why you can't take him seriously.
I have to say, we live in a city with a enormous drug problem. It's a scourge of our streets. Is the addiction crisis in our city. I've never seen someone who looks like Tom Holland down there.
Not one time.
And if they are, they're just getting started. The fact that Tom Holland doesn't get the like Charlize Theron and monster treatment in Cherry, and you're supposed to be like, this dude's like a crackhead. Okay. I don't believe it.
Yeah, no, 100%. And it's not his fault.
No, it's not his fault. Tom Holland is a pretty boy. The other big problem, we should talk about Cherry sometime, but that would involve us having to watch it on Apple TV+.
I cannot do it again.
Which is pretty tough.
Simply couldn't bear it.
My big problem with Cherry is that he doesn't die. But unfortunately, it's based on a true story.
Yeah.
Another movie he was in too, like Tom Holland goes through this edge phase where he's also in The Devil All the Time, which is a pretty dark movie.
Another one where it's compared to like Robert Pattinson doing a fucking 180 from Harry Potter to Twilight to Batman and the Devil All the Times,
Batman, though.
Right?
Yeah.
But like just him growing up into the role, regardless of facial hair, he's just a better actor, even though he went from being a boy to man in like
also
20 minutes.
Pattinson like working with Cronenberg, and also he did that movie High Life, which is pretty fucking dark as well.
A better actor generally, like has more range.
Pattinson?
Yes.
Of course. Oh, by far. Pattinson's a better actor than Mark Wahlberg. Better, like I love Wahlberg, but like Pattinson is, Pattinson is he's a true G. Even more so than Kristen Stewart. Pattinson is like, he's a true capital P performer.
Damn. So, I don't know who else to compare Tom Holland to, who's like equally, baby face. Because fucking Daniel Radcliffe was a little baby, but now he's just a freak. A good-natured, fucking weird-ass fucking, he's welcome to dinner anytime.
Can I draw like a comparison that Tom Holland is kind of missing? Jared Leto is like a pretty guy, right? And he got famous, like part of his role, like Fight Club, for example. He's like a pretty boy. Yeah. It's part of his thing. But Jared Leto has that edge to him, whether you like him or not. I think y'all know how I feel about Jared Leto. Tom Holland, he's Cruise-ish. He's like, he's supposed to be, he's like a bartender in this and a thief. And you're like, Tom Holland, you give me no sense of danger. You're a bartender and you're chatting to this girl, and all I can think is like you're going to be
12.
Like,
how are you here?
Listen, I can't talk to you because I got to go study for my history test tomorrow. Like you're not. Harrison Ford had a sense of danger to his Indiana Jones-ness, Nick Cage has a bit of a sense of like danger in National Treasure, which these films are very similar.
Yeah,
that's why I bring them up. Tom Holland, he doesn't have the edge at all. Nathan Drake, who he is playing, like in the games, I've never played the games, want to play the games, they sound cool and stuff, but he's like 40. And I'm like,
oh, right. So that's another great part is when they do a little flashback, it's like, 15 years ago, and it's a baby Tom Holland.
And that 15-year-old kid is supposed to be 9. Yeah. Yeah,
he's like a 9-year-old. Yeah. All right, great. And then it's like, cut to present day, and it just looks like Tom Holland from 20 minutes ago. Like there's no aging.
The Chiron is like 6 months later. It's like, wait, he might as well have not grown at all.
It may just well like be. Yeah.
I have a really important question about this film, though.
Hit me.
Do you think Zendaya likes this movie?
I don't think Zendaya likes Tom Holland as an actor. I think
They're
she likes
like married.
him as a person. That is why they are married.
You think she just wants to be friends?
She is like, babe, I love you, but your job doesn't define you. And that's what's great about you, Tom. You're just a real chum.
Tom Holland seems like a swell guy.
Just the nicest guy who'd be like, yeah, I can lend you 20,000 pounds. No problem.
No problem.
Yeah, whenever you need it. Don't even worry about it. Oh, don't worry about it. Oh, I've got tons of this 20,000.
It's like, listen, Robert Downey.
I've got tons in my bag.
Robert Downey, since you made my career.
He would call him Mr. Stark no matter what.
If you would ever like to get back into doing heroin, I will lend you money to do so.
He would always... Also, babe, don't forget, he would sound like Butters the whole time. Oh, gee, Mr. Shark. Oh, jeez. Oh, geez, what gee, fellas? What are you doing here?
Tom, I don't like this heroin. You and Robert Downey.
I just gotta try it one time. Don't knock it till you tried it, Mark. Don't knock it.
He is the major problem in this movie. There are other problems with this film. But
every single person involved in this film is part of the problem.
I really wanted to like this movie more than I did. I was constantly kind of puzzled by the choices that they make in this film. The choices it ends up being very unfun in a way. It just feels like okay. I want to talk about something I brought up when we were watching it was like they have a very long extended sequence in Barcelona in which they are trying to find the treasure. Ostensibly, they think the treasure is there. They're trying to find it. They go through this kind of like very, and I say this negatively, video game-esque series of puzzles beneath the streets of Barcelona in order to find the treasure. And I was negatively comparing it to The Last Crusade, which I love that movie. I know some people have complicated relationship with that film, but there's this scene, they just have that one scene in Venice when they're in the library and he breaks the floor open. Yeah. Like that scene, I love that movie, so maybe I'm biased, but it's like that scene is like they can't really talk because they're in a library, so he doesn't fully, if I recall, like he doesn't like lay everything out for you, and then you're like, what are they going to find under the floor? Like what could it be, you know? And what, like, and it's so interesting and it's full of suspense in a way and has that little comedic bit when the guy stamps the paper and it makes the slamming sound. Great stuff. Steven Spielberg, pretty good director. And in this movie, like they're going through this like puzzle and you're just kind of like, I can't even really understand what could happen because they're just like, oh, what could it be? Oh, you just stick the key in a hole.
It's because they think the audience is 1,000% fucking stupid.
Well, yeah, the other problem is like in the writing in this movie, every line is like, we need to do this. And someone's like, look, we could do that over there. And they're like, let's go do it over there. Like they say everything that's going to happen. Then they do it. And it's just like, there's no like wonder at all. It's just kind of,
there's no surprise.
That small scene where they end up in the underground club, right? And he's like, look, that sign, he basically says like, that sign says Infernum and they're looking for hell. And he's like, isn't Infernum Latin for hell? And it's like, oh my God, we're not idiot. Like we get it. We know. So it's like, it's really frustrating.
That's why I'm like, all right, because it was made from a game. So maybe it's targeted at a very young audience. Even if we give them that kind of benefit of doubt, maybe that is why they got Tom Holland, because then the little kids would be like, yeah, Spider-Man in another video game or whatever.
This movie would be a complete failure without Tom Holland in it, let's put it that way. Like he is the driving force behind why anyone
even saw it. I think that's why, like, wasn't Max Payne also a film? Didn't it?
I prefer to think of it as a work of cinema art.
I want to never think about it ever again.
Starring Mark Wahlberg as Max Payne.
Shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So another
brilliant
fairly
film. Please, brilliant.
Sorry, I will say no other word about it.
It also has Chris Ludacris Bridges.
It has Chris Ludacris.
I got potatoes in the oven. I gotta go mess with them. I'm back.
Hi.
The potatoes are
how are they doing?
Soft.
Oh, just
succulent.
Just how I like them.
Delicious.
Wet potatoes.
So Max Payne, why are you bringing up Max Payne?
Because that movie shit the bed too.
Badly.
Bad movie. Yep. And until very, very recently, until games started to become more TV show long form storytelling, converting a game into a movie was consistently a bad idea. Or it was received badly.
It was done poorly a lot, yes.
And I can't think of even one instance where it was like, that fucking game movie, huge hit.
Before Last of Us, which is like
but that's TV.
Yeah, that's TV, right?
So that's sort of like outside of that or Fallout or, of that genre. Like I think it was understood by the network that this is only trying to be somewhat of a cash grab for a quick turnaround that we've roped in these poor actors for in a contract, and now we can just milk them for what it is.
Yeah.
Slap a fucking 40% Rotten Tomato on it and call it a day.
You can get like a big director who can whatever you think of Ruben Fleischer's quality as a director, it's like he brings in the movie. They're generally fun. They're well filmed. Like he directs a scene. The action is the only positive part of this movie. Yes. I think it's fun, even though a lot of the action sequences are
cartoonish,
the work of absurdity. Like they're absolutely insane. One thing I always think with video game adaptations is that, first of all, people who are like big fans of the video game, they're not going to be happy about anything you do. They'll never be happy.
No matter what.
It's like Star Wars. They're basically all Star Wars fans, but they are for all video games. They're just never going to be happy. Really. Yeah. And the criticism you get from them should really be taken with a grain of salt. But what I think I find frustrating sometimes, and this frustrates me with this movie, is that they like. It seems like studios or executives or directors even, or writers even, are like, we should inject a little bit into the film what sweaty fat nerd what people who are into video games like about video games.
Yeah.
And then they go through this big puzzle sequence in Uncharted, and you're just like, in my opinion, John, and I play a lot of video games. I'm a big fan. I think they're an interesting work of art.
Yeah.
And they're entertaining. Mm-hmm. But what I like about them is not what I like about watching movies. If I want to watch a movie, it's one thing. If I want to play a game, it's another thing. You know?
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel like I'm like, why do you even bother trying to do that? Why do you even bother? Like, for something like Uncharted, it's like, why are you trying to please these two audiences of like normal film goers and the crossover with people who are fans of Uncharted and the people who are fans of Tom Holland who are going to come see this movie, who are often a lot of normal film goers? Like The Last of Us, right? Isn't there one episode later in the season that's like basically like a level from the game?
I mean, even the pilot house, right? is like scene for scene from the game.
Yeah, but The Last of Us is like rife for an adaptation because it's made that way.
Perfect.
Tomb Raider is a good example of that too. I recently played like the Tomb Raider reboot from like 10 years ago. A lot of fun, totally cinematic. That movie, which we'll cover eventually, is also not good.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you take Last of Us and you just take all the cutscenes and you pair it together, you would still have a great film without the TV show. Mm-hmm. If you do the same for Uncharted and you just take the video cutscenes paired together, it might still be a better film than this fucking movie.
And I don't know where the balance is so off, I guess. It's like
because none of it is believable.
No, and also I'm just kind of like, just let a video game be a video game.
Yeah.
One of the big successes of The Last of Us is that like it's not like there's a level where you get to control Nick Offerman kissing that dude from White Lotus. Like that is like one of the big successes is the way they deviate from the game itself to give that little injection of kind of like, I've never played The Last of Us. Maybe there is maybe there is a level where you're just making out with these two dudes in a zombie apocalypse.
You get to choose. Yeah, hell yeah.
And like day to day you have to set traps and then go kiss your husband at night.
Cook potatoes together.
Yeah, like I don't know. But that's how they deviate in an interesting way.
It's such a shame because Uncharted has all the makings of a fucking fantastic film. Treasure hunt, mystery, fucking bros coming together.
It's also in a genre that's generally successful.
Yeah. Every movie. Yeah, exactly.
Even the mediocre ones like National Treasure are still like national fucking treasures.
And no mediocrity
one,
at all.
This one still, it's so basic.
I think what happened to me is that I learned something about myself watching Uncharted is that I got diagnosed with narcolepsy. Every 20 minutes, there could be an action scene happening. There could be whatever. And I'm just like, oh, I'm dozing off. And why would that ever happen when you're watching a treasure hunt film? What a strange experience.
What I struggle with is like the idea of comparing it so unfavorably to something like Indiana Jones is kind of like...
Well, they do it to themselves because they fucking reference it.
They do.
Which I hate
but it's also
so
like,
much.
It's like, man, like what is so magical at Indiana Jones that this is missing? That's what I'm interested in.
Yeah.
Is like, why like there, I mean, besides a lot of the thing we could list off, the obvious things, the charm of the lead character, memorable villains.
Yeah.
Also, like the chemistry between, say, Sean Connery and Harrison Ford is kind of missing between Mark Wahlberg and Tom Holland. But it's like, man, you're right that like it's like Uncharted. It's like, this should be a slam dunk.
Yeah.
And you're shooting from half court
because
and missing.
I don't know how much blame we can pass on to the nature of the actor to take the fall for killing the character entirely. For example, if instead of a 40-year-old Nathan Drake Uncharted video game guy, if we got a 40-year-old whatever, fucking Bradley Cooper or something, different tone, sure.
Yep.
Might not work with Mark Wahlberg, who knows. But then on the other
Bradley
hand,
Cooper and Wahlberg are well known to fist fight each other every time they see each other. It's normal, yeah.
I'm hungover, you're hungover. When we're like, oh, it's just because it's a sweet guy and we know Tom Holland to be a big sweetie and we can't imagine him as like fighting guys and punching someone in the face with malice. And then we look at the Da Vinci Codes where it's arguably America's dad, the sweetest guy.
Yeah.
What's he doing punching guys sometimes? It comes down to it. He maybe even stabs someone.
I don't think Robert Langdon ever hits someone.
I think at least in self-defense or something, right?
I don't think he even does that.
When he's like trapped in the sewer at the bottom?
I don't remember.
But anyway, but it's like more believable to be like, yeah, this old fucking professor is going to be a more entertaining source of treasure hunt than this youthful exuberance that is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
What a shocking twist of nothingness watching Uncharted when you're just like, this is a movie about a treasure hunt and I'm bored?
Yeah. That's the thing I'm struggling with is like, why?
Why is that happening?
How can it be so uninteresting?
How is it happening that way? And it has fucking Antonio Banderas.
I know.
What are they doing with all these people?
I don't know how. Yeah. It's so weird. It flummoxes me how this movie managed to...
I remember your face watching this film.
Yeah.
Just like you had a 1,000-yard stare.
My eyebrow cocked, yeah.
You were like given double life sentences, Shawshank. You were just like, I don't know if I can make it, man. I had to put an army blanket over you. I got you a hot water bottle.
I just don't know how to... Every scene... Again, let's talk about Last Crusade, right? Something so interesting about Last Crusade, and this is why Spielberg is such a good director, and I don't remember if it was Lawrence Kasdan who wrote Last Crusade, but like if it was great, if it was someone else, they are also a great writer. With Last Crusade, the amount of times where you go from like set piece to set piece or sequence to sequence, and the product of it, the end product of that sequence is so surprising.
Yeah, payoff.
When he rescues Sean Connery from the castle, chase, all this kind of stuff, they land, they're finally in safety, and then they're like at a crossroads, literally, and he's like, all right, where do we go? He's like, oh, we got to go to Berlin. We have to get a diary from Hitler. And it's like, that shit is so great. In this movie, they go through like this long sequence, this like puzzle-laden sequence under the streets of Barcelona, and they get to the end of it, and they're just like, oh, the treasure's not here. And then they find a map. And it just feels kind of like, all right.
Oh, so you're telling me this movie this whole time has been charted? It's also misleading in its title because his brother did all the fucking work already.
But the thing too is like Uncharted. Where do we have to go? Not to some mystery place. They have to go to the Philippines.
We figured it all out. Don't worry about it, guys. This done been charted.
They chart 2 places.
What the fuck?
Spain.
I'm so upset.
Spain and the Philippines. And I'm like, bro, I've heard of both of them.
God damn it. They also talk in like the reward in terms of very tangible amounts, like 4 to 6 billion.
Yeah.
In other treasure films, it's just like kilograms of gold, or just fucking bullions or whatever they fucking call it.
Tom Holland's journey, you know the whole Jones thing of like, oh, it belongs in a museum. That whole his thing, right? His guiding philosophy.
Yeah.
Right? So interesting. But Holland's journey in this is just like, my brother's gone. I think he's dead. I learn he's dead. I still want the money. Like, he has no real like, what is he driving at? And I feel like maybe they're hesitant, like I said, maybe they're hesitant to change. Maybe Nathan Drake is not a well-developed character in the video games. I don't know. Maybe he is.
Wouldn't that give you more freedom to
exactly.
play
Maybe
with
they're
the guy?
afraid. Maybe they're afraid to develop the character in a different way to give him some, because people will be like, I don't leave my house, but I'm really upset about this movie.
Well, guess what? Luckily for us, there's a second part to this movie.
Which is so insane.
In production currently.
This is a $120 million film, and it made like $16, and they're still like
$16.
And because Ruben Fleischer decided to
dude.
like film a mid-credit scene with that fucking piece of shit Euron guy from Game of Thrones, they're like,
what is
I guess we'll have to spend the money. you know?
I have no choice but to watch it again.
Oh, we will cover that.
Yeah, we're gonna watch that shit. Come on.
We're going to chart a course to the theater.
to the chart it.
We're going to chart it right there.
Oh, we're doing it.
Oh,
we're charting all over that thing.
Yeah. I
know.
So,
it's like your frustration is like palpable, but it's not even frustration. It's just, you're just feeling like let down, I think. Because you were hopeful for it to be.
So much potential, man. There's so much potential in this film.
You know what really grinds my gears, fellas?
Tell me.
And this is not an honest comparison, but you know how much I love After Earth?
Yeah. This is going to be lights out.
How much of a similar feeling did you have watching After Earth? Were you just as bored? Were you more bored? Were you kind of hopeful?
I like this movie more than After Earth.
All right.
Sorry.
My point is moot.
After Earth makes so many crucial missteps early on.
It's one step.
But like After Earth doesn't ever go far enough, right? And as I said in that episode, this movie goes in the wrong direction. You know.
Fair. Yeah, good point.
Like it kind of takes it to the extreme in a direction where you're like, that's insane. The last set piece, I think, is the most absurd thing. I don't think a helicopter can lift a Spanish galleon. I don't think Tom Holland could fire a cannon and hit a helicopter. I just don't think that is a real thing.
I don't think Tom Holland can hold a job as a bartender. Let's start there.
I don't think he's old enough.
They're going to be like, get out of here, little boy.
I think that the liquor board of the state of New York or whatever
they need to
investigate,
penalized
that bar. The other thing too that like I found frustrating right off the bat of this movie is that they open with this set piece where he's flying out the bottom of an airplane, and they already like he's asleep, which is wild, and he crawls up on these boxes, and then he hits a guy, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." I hate that like.
Mr. Stark.
It like already sets the tone, and I'm like, nope, this is not my style.
Yeah. It's his classic, like, slightly funny, slightly goofy, slightly sarcastic. I'm a lad.
Yeah,
I'm a friendly guy.
But also the tone of being like, oh boy, I hope that guy's okay from this, mile long drop after he got his head caved in by a box. Like it's like that kind of like thing where they make a joke out of someone's horrific death.
Which kind of like, cherish.
It would be better not to make the joke at all. Just be like, whoa, I'm glad that didn't kill me. I'm glad that didn't kill me in the head.
Yeah.
But so it starts off like that, and I'm like, oh, cool. Nathan Drake. I know who that is. Never played the game. Seen some of the gameplay. I'm like, this makes sense. Nathan Drake, Uncharted.
Yeah.
Video game franchise. Cut back, 20 years or whatever. And then I'm like, what? Okay, so now this is a fucking kid. And then cut forward to him as a bartender. I'm like, oh, so now we need the origin story of this guy. And there's this part, which is a very classic storytelling trope, right? Where Mark Wahlberg is like, Tom, I want you to come with me. I think I know there's $5 billion out there in the ocean. It's time for fucking my wife. How's your mother? Time for fucking my father.
Say hello to your mother.
The shithole has more leaks than the Iraqi Navy. And he's like, Tom, come on. We got to do it together. And Tom Holland.
That's what you got to do. You got to be out of breath the whole time.
In the classic storytelling thing, he refuses to call it adventure, right? He's like, Mark, no. He's like, Mark, no. Like,
gee, Mr. Mark.
I'm just gonna go back to being a bartender.
Yeah.
I always think of that moment, and you notice it in almost every script. Certainly, every mainstream script is the protagonist always refuses the call to adventure, or he has the call refused, right?
Yeah.
And then he's like, you know what? Maybe I do want $500 million. Like, he's like, I'm gonna go back to being a New York bartender where it's illegal because I'm 17 years old. But you're just kind of like, what are you doing with your life that you're not going to take part in this? Like, I know it's a crime that you're about to commit, but like, also, what do you got going on for you? And his Sully is like, if I remember correctly, is like, well, I know about your brother, but Tom Holland's still like, no, I like being a bartender and robbing my clients.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? It's so what are you, Tom?
He's not fully developed. That's what it. Not
No.
as a person. I just mean his character.
Also, pupuberty was. Yes, it did. Puberty.
He's getting there. Sorry, Tom. I know he's intently listening to this pod.
I don't like him as a performer generally, but he's also not been in a lot of movies.
He's been in 3 things, and
and I don't really like any of them. I think the thing I like him the most in is Lost City of Z, but he's a very small part in that.
Yeah.
But then like second to that must be like Devil All the Time, which I thought was an okay film.
You know what he's got to do? And Tom, write this down.
Lose some fucking weight.
No, write it down, Tommy, because I got you. You got to do a fucking straight left turn out of the casting pit that you've fallen into, like your boy Daniel Radcliffe. He went from Harry Potter into doing some garbage horror film about like a lady in the window or a widow or something.
I think it's about a lady in black.
Which
is why it's called The Lady in Black.
Yeah, you got it. To then doing something about having horns on his head.
I think it's the reason it's about someone with horns on his head is that's why it's called Horns.
It's got, see? It writes itself.
Yeah.
Lady in black, he's dressed in black.
And then he did that movie Farting Corpse, which is why it's called Farting Corpse. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is
those guys
fucking
won
fantastic.
An Academy Award.
That is an incredible film, and it's called
Swiss Army Man.
Swiss Army
Great
Man.
movie. It's a very, and also Daniel Radcliffe is like, it's weird
so
to say, but he's a revelation in it because you're like, he's so fucking good, man. Yeah.
And it's unexpected. And I think Tom Holland has a farting corpse in him. I think he can do it. He just needs to be given the chance, and he needs to fucking take the leap, my guy. Go do a fucking out of left field whack ass film. None of this like, oh, I'm gonna play a brooding drug addict in fucking Cherry. Nah, it's not enough.
Babe, I think there's something that all of us have in common with celebrities is that we're all a living, breathing human surrounding a farting corpse.
Aww.
And that someday we'll all be a farting corpse. And I think Tom Holland is like that too. But I agree with you. I think he needs to work with
Cronenberg.
Yeah, he needs to find his Cronenberg.
He needs to find his Cronenberg.
Campos, who did Devil All the Time, not unlike that, but not nearly the legend that Cronenberg is. But also like, I mean, stop with the Russo brothers.
Just stop.
Just no more.
No more of the Russo brothers.
The Russo brothers and Fleischer have a lot of similarities in my opinion as directors.
Yeah.
They are competent and they make really good action and seem to be attracted to projects that borderline the absurd. Yeah. And that's frustrating about them.
I think creatively they push themselves in being able to direct these choreographed over the top action scenes.
Yeah.
But then when it comes down to like the editing and the craft of writing and plot and pacing
and like a lot of the thing is like Cherry is like a fantastically made film that like it's hard to really pin down what's so lacking about it because you're like this should work in many levels and there's other, but you're just kind of like everything outside the actual like camera work and blocking and all that kind of stuff is like not working.
No.
And I find it's the same I find with Fleischer is like, although I've criticized that final sequence because I just think it's so dumb. It's like such a dumb, absurd idea. Yeah. It might as well be fucking Uncharted Fast and the fucking Furious. Right? Yeah. Like that's how stupid it is. A lot of the other stuff in this movie, there's a little parkour, there's a little puzzle solving, there's some chases, there's something like that stuff's all fine. There's some hand-to-hand combat. Like that stuff is all cool. I don't mind that shit. I think he's quite good at it. Holland needs to he needs to work with something with like real substance.
I'm saying that because he's like put in this position of having to carry this film, and it's hard. But then you see someone like Mark Wahlberg who only ever plays the one guy.
Well, also in this movie, he's doing nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
He's doing zero.
He's just showing up as Mark Wahlberg, which he does in almost everything, whether it's that police film or whether it's
the
other guys.
He's great in that. Though.
Or Ted or your favorite of all time. The Departed.
Yeah. He's doing something in The Departed, though. He's doing something. And that's why he gets nominated for Academy Award for that performance, right? Yeah. But also, like, I would agree.
Here he's just like, I'm cashing a check, baby. Let's go. I got 12 minutes.
He really feels like he's phoning it in this movie. But in Ted and in the other guys, the good thing about his casting is like you're playing off of his silly tough guy persona
Yeah.
to make a comedic thing, right?
Yeah.
And it works, and he is doing something in those movies. But there are a lot of movies where Mark Wahlberg is like, yeah, a couple million.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll
I'm
do
there.
it.
What time do you need me?
Me and the Wahlburgers
Like, what's
are
your
going to
name
be
again?
out here.
Yeah, what time should I be there? All right, I'm there.
Well, at least in the next one, purportedly he's going to have a mustache, so he's got that going for him. In the fucking last credit scene of this film of Uncharted,
Oh, yeah.
Mark Wahlberg shows
Yeah,
up with a
right.
goofy ass mustache, and they're like, "All right, that's going to be his thing. Keep the mustache on him the entirety of the film, you
I think
cowards."
Tom Holland should grow a mustache. Doesn't he have one in a movie?
I don't think he's able to.
No, he has a mustache in a movie.
Cherry
Does he?
or like a stubble.
No, I think there's a movie where he's got a straight up mustache. I'm
Oh
trying to think
shit,
of what it is.
that's an upsetting thought. Ew.
It'd be great if, like, in the Spider-Man movies, he had it just over the suit.
Just
pretty
over the
dope.
suit.
Yeah.
A little Ned Flanders stash.
Yeah. You want to talk about the plot of Uncharted?
Yeah, neighborino.
Let's do it. So, like I said, it starts with him falling out of an airplane.
Yes.
Then he gets out of that after he gets run over by a car in midair, which is an absurd scene we get to later. But we cut back to him and his brother. They're orphans at an orphanage. They get caught sneaking out. They're like, and the orphanage is like, you know what's going to happen to your brother? He's going to go to fucking jail.
Your brother's only 2 minutes older than you are, but
Yeah. He's going
Good luck.
he's going to Rikers fucking Island. He's going to get like that Riz Ahmed role where he turns into a
Wait.
total hardcore gangster.
did they? No, honestly, did they send him to jail when they caught him? Robbing.
I think like the implication was he was like going to go to juvie or some shit. Like, I
Okay,
don't
it was
fucking
juvie.
know.
Okay,
like,
yeah.
I one thing about that scene now, again, I'm absolutely a lawyer and you should take my law advice. I was like, I just don't think that would happen. Like, they would be like, your brother's like fucking, we're getting him the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
You're going to stay here alone. Like, I don't think they would separate the kids. Right?
No.
But anyway, his brother leaves. His brother is like, I'm going to jump out this window. He probably breaks his ankle on the way down, but he leaves and disappears. Cut to 6 months later, Tom Holland is a bartender.
In a matter of 6 months from age 9.
He's going to be doing a
to
little
age 10.
cocktail starring Tom Cruise with his buddy. He works at a bar. He makes Negronis for some hottie and then steals her
Can I even
bracelet.
just say,
Yeah.
even the content there, whatever writing, the Negroni joke, do you even remember, what are they going for? Where he's like, what can I get you? And she's like, martini. And he's like, come on, challenge me a little bit.
She orders a vodka soda.
A vodka soda. And
Yeah.
he's like, oh, challenge me a little bit. Test me a little. And she says, all right, a Negroni. And he's like, a ne what? And then he makes her the Negroni.
Babe, I think what they're going there for is humor. It will shock you to find out. Think it's humor.
They gotta have tested that with more than 3 people in the room, man.
Another thing that strikes me about Holland sometimes, and I think this is what bothers me, the uncanny valleyness of him
Yeah.
as a
Matchbox boy.
young performer
Yeah.
who just seems to have popped out of his mom's vag, fully formed as a performer. And I will say, it's something that bothers me about Zendaya too. Outside of them being performers, I'm like, who the fuck are these people? Like, who are these? And maybe it's just because I'm not Gen Z or Gen Alpha or whatever.
No, you're not keeping up.
I'm just like, who the fuck are these people? Like, what outside of their roles? Like, I'm not saying that like, oh, they disappear into them. I'm just like, they just don't seem real.
No.
And Tom Holland, when he's doing that humorous part, is like, it kind of feels like he's like, all right, I must tell a joke. It gives that Tom Cruise kind of thing where it's like,
it's a little like this AI is sentient and has learned to do more than what
humor setting for this part.
Crank it up.
And then
to
you're just
80%.
kind of like, he could play it off as a joke, or he played it off as a little dry humor, but you're just kind of like, it just comes across very flat. And I will say, you know who I thought of in this part, and I was like, that would have been good casting, though he'd be too old at this point, I guess. Miles Teller.
Yeah, Miles Teller.
He's a little dirty.
Yeah.
And that's what you want. He's a little dangerous.
He's like a fucking prick. Like, he'd be good in this.
But that would give at least another dimension to the character.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then when he steals a fucking bracelet, you're just kind of like, yeah, I knew it. I knew Miles Teller was like that. Anyway, so he works in this bar.
I think they were just banking on Tom Holland's
Of course.
fame
He's a huge
and
star.
him
Of
bringing
course.
billions of kids to the cinemas.
Literally by like he will bring them to a cinema and place them in their seats
Because he's
one
the
by
Pied
one.
Piper.
But no, like I agree, and I don't blame studios or executives or directors or Tom Holland himself for being like, this kid brings people to puts butts in seats. I don't blame them for that at all. Doesn't mean I can't criticize him for
no,
his performance.
100%.
So Mark Wahlberg shows up and he's like, Tom, I know your brother. I'm gonna stop now. It's like, Tom,
No, please never
I know
stop.
your brother. Something or other. There's all this money. You know
Sam.
all about this Spanish the
Map.
Magellan thing, and there's this thing. We can probably find the treasure. It's worth $5 billion. Do you want to do it with me? And he pickpockets Tom Holland, and then Tom Holland finds him at his apartment, and he's like, no, I don't, for no reason. And then he changes his mind, and they're like, all right. Well, Mark's like, my plan is we got to find this key. And the key is this cross that was like made by some whatever. So the key is this cross. It's being auctioned at the same place where Uncut Gems takes place. And he's like, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to the auction, cut the power, steal the thing.
They're going to pull a Rush Hour 2.
Yeah. That's where they meet Joe Braddock, who's like the main baddie in this. Good actress, terrible role. I think she's really...
She was the actress from the TV show You.
She's in
in
plays
the
Mary
latter
Ann.
seasons. Yeah.
Mary. I think she's not good in this. I think also...
No, it's really bad.
I don't know if it's
girl.
fully her fault because she has absolutely no written character.
No redeeming dialogues, like not a moment of
but also there's
charisma.
There's no you're just like, why are you doing this? Just because you want money? That's not good enough.
Even if they gave her 0 lines,
Be
that
better.
would be more effective.
Would be better.
Because she does have a fucking weird ass look to her in this film.
Yeah.
She'd show up and you'd be like, it's the worm lady or whatever. And
Jesus.
it's the creepy, gorgeous worm.
It's one of the dune worms.
It's one of the dune worms and they're stunning.
She is the spice. Not in this movie, but anyway. And she works for Antonio Banderas, who does want the money. He's like, he plays a descendant of the original family who sent Magellan, who funded Magellan's mission.
Yeah.
The Mercados.
I'm wondering whose D got asked to get Antonio Banderas signed on this.
ABs. No, I don't know.
Just because maybe it really does come down to money, man. The fuck do I know? He did Spy Kids. He fucking killed it.
I've said it before. You can fault people for performances and you can fault people for this and that. But like, honestly, people, they get paid a lot of money, but also they do have to live their lives. And
he's like, I have to be in this for 15 minutes.
He's not in it for much. And
I'll make $10 million.
It's easy. I think I said this on another pod, but it's like, it's easy from our position to be like, why would someone ever make a stupid bad movie? And it's like, well, they don't.
I would do it.
They don't go into it being like, I can't wait for this piece of shit to come out. Like, they want to make it good.
Surely they know when they read the script and they do the table readings.
I think some actors do know. I think some actors don't know.
Yeah.
I think also some actors are maybe like, also lots of actors, they get parts without seeing the whole script. They just see the part that they're doing.
Fair enough.
I don't know if that's a Banderas thing, but like...
He showed up and he killed it, though.
He showed up. You get paid. You did your best. Maybe you didn't do your best. Maybe in Mark Wahlberg's case, you weren't trying that hard.
Yeah.
But like, I can't totally feel like it's like, why would you work on a piece of shit? It's like, man, I've gone to work for companies for years and been like, this is stupid and dumb and I don't care about it.
Of course.
It's like when you're a big actor who that is your life.
That's a job.
That's okay.
He's just like, this is a contract.
Job. Yeah, that's fine.
Fair enough.
And frankly, it's probably fucking better than the dumb shit I have to do on a day-to-day basis. Okay? And I would happily get paid millions of dollars. You know what? I would happily get paid just a couple $100,000.
just a couple.
Yeah.
Couple of $100,000.
Fucking wank off at my job. Anyway, so Banderas, he wants the thing. They go through a set piece where Wahlberg ends up stealing the keys. Holland catches up with him and he's like, take me with you to Spain. They get to Barcelona. They meet Chloe Frazer, this actress whose name I forget. She doesn't really know what accent she's doing until much later in the film.
I thought I clocked because, okay, they meet in Spain. So right away, my fucking racist ass was like, Spanish.
Hardcore racist, yeah.
She must speak Spanish and have a
Spanish
Spanish
accent.
accent.
A Spanish person would be in Spain. That's absurd.
And then she didn't have a Spanish accent. But then it wasn't English, quite British.
Well,
maybe it was
I
Scottish.
assume
I don't know.
I don't know if she is. maybe I'm assuming she looked Indian.
Also that.
Indian background.
Yeah.
She's an American actress. I know that for sure. She's fine in this movie. I don't think she's bad. But yeah, like she shows up and she has a hint of a British accent. So I was like, she's probably Indian.
Yeah.
Then later she's Australian.
Then it's like, what is going on?
And I have to say
and she's
again,
like a little flat white.
As a performer, Australian accent, really hard to do. I would happily get paid $200,000 to try and do it for a few hours. All right.
A science
Whatever
experiment.
your name is, I will take your part in Uncharted 2
Freak.
for a couple hundo.
Oh, God.
They chase her through Barcelona, and then they end up doing the whole puzzle chase through the bottom of the streets. In the meantime, Banderas reveals that he double crosses his father. I only bring this up because my favorite part of this movie is when his father is sitting at the Sagrada de Familia, and he's like, This is where I go to relax.
This is the most peaceful
And
place
it's
I've
like
ever
the
been.
most peaceful place is the top tourist destination in my entire
It is
country.
swarmed by 1 million people.
It's very funny. It's like it's like a French person being like, I go under the Eiffel Tower to relax because
It's so peaceful.
so relaxing under there. Yeah.
What's the Vancouver equivalent for that kind of?
The steam clock, I think.
The steam clock is
Sorry,
where I
everybody.
relax.
It's not a real steam clock, apparently.
Whoa!
Doesn't actually function by that.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
But like, we don't really have nothing near the Sagrada de Familia, nothing near the Eiffel Tower. But like, there is, I think, the only landmark we have where people gather, like tourists specifically, actually gather in a marginally large group, which is like 50 people tops.
Wreck Beach.
That Wreck Beach is not a tourist place though. Neither is the art gallery. It's the steam clock. Yeah.
I was just joking about Wreck Beach because it's a nudie beach.
Well, more tourists should go there.
Yeah.
We need an influx of sexy naked people.
Hell
We
yeah.
always do. Anyway, they go through Barcelona. They find the map. They thought they were going to find the treasure, but they find the map. And the map says basically like, hey, I'm in the Philippines. They head to the Philippines. That's it. Sorry. They head to the Philippines.
And they're like, oh, we done charted it.
Yeah. They're like,
fuck, man.
We should chart a course. And Mark Wahlberg's like, shh. Don't say
it.
Don't
say
you're
that
gonna chart.
word. Fuck.
And then with Joe Braddock hot on their heels, she murders Antonio Banderas because she's like, I want it all to myself.
The family name dies with you.
Yeah.
Good night.
And there's a set piece in an airplane. That's where we kind of re-loop back into where we were. Tom Holland gets hit by the car coming out of the airplane in which Chloe Fraser is. They have a conversation on the hood of that vehicle where they're falling to earth, which would be impossible.
And they're just like easy chatting.
Yeah.
No problem.
She's just like, why don't you have a parachute? And he's like,
I didn't know I had to go get it.
And then they jump on a box with a parachute attached. This stunt probably would have turned them to pink mist, but they land safely.
It's a maddening fucking thing to behold because even though it's a cartoon film, video game film, blah, 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 superhero, doesn't matter. You would expect this in, what is that fucking game? Saints Row.
Yeah.
With like flying dildos or whatever.
The set pieces get more and more insane as they go on.
Yeah. It's some Miami Vice shit, but in the skies.
It's not fun though. It's not fun.
No. This is just supposed to be like, oh, cool / hilarious. And it's kind of neither. Now, because the whole time you're just bewildered at like how annoying it is.
Can I talk about what I was getting at earlier about the difference between playing a video game?
Yeah.
And watching a movie.
Yeah.
Is that when that shit happens in Uncharted or it happens in Tomb Raider, Saints Row, whatever, a successful video game, you should feel immersed in what's going on.
Correct.
You should feel like you're in that. That's as close as you can get to being in that without actually falling out of an airplane.
Exactly.
When you're just passively watching it, you're just
dumb.
like, it's so stupid.
It's the dumbest thing.
You know?
Yeah.
There's something about video games where you're like, well, I want to experience and expect the impossible.
Yeah.
And in films, at least for myself, I'm like, no, I want to see cool shit within the limitations of cinema.
Because they're humans. They're not superhumans.
Exactly. And
it's so strange.
I remember listening to a podcast, I don't remember which, with Leslie Headland was the guest. She directed that movie with Alison Brie and Jason Sudeikis, Sleeping with Other People.
Oh, right.
Also created and directed The Acolyte, the recent canceled Disney Plus show. I never watched The Acolyte, but I remember saying this thing where she was like, Well, we use a lot of CGI. We use a lot of special effects. And one of the cool things about that is like you can do impossible things with a camera, and you don't have to feel restricted by the physical movements of the camera. And I was like, I don't actually like that when films do that.
Yeah.
I want to like be immersed in what is physically limiting about cinema and see people do cool stuff within that playground.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with video games, I'm more of like, oh, you can do anything.
Yeah.
And that's what's fucking cool about it.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I thought was so interesting, I recently played the 2 new God of War games, right?
Yeah, baby.
Those are like generously, you could fit, they're like 30 to 40 hour long games.
Mm-hmm.
A single camera. You never cut. And that's a cool thing that you could never do in cinema, right? And like that's the type, I don't know, that's the type of thing like, yeah, that's what I like. I don't know.
It is the big difference is you get to participate in the wacky ass fucking quality of it.
Yeah.
And here you're just
But here I'm like, I want it to be more grounded and I want it to be more stuck in the frame rather than.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And
totally.
But and that's what I think where sometimes I think they misstep with video game the adaptations is that they're just kind of like, let's make it video game-esque. And it's like, no, if I wanted that, I would play a video game, which I often do. So it's, yeah.
Which is why I think even if they went to anybody but Tom Holland for this, like if they went to a Miles Teller, he'd be like, no, man, I'm not going to fucking jump out of a car that jumps out of a plane.
Yeah, Miles Teller is like, I
know
move
limits.
at 50% the speed of other people. And Tom Holland is like, I move at 120.
Yeah.
Like it's, yeah.
It's a mousy little guy.
Yeah. But anyway, they end up finding the thing in the Philippines. Tom Holland gets Chloe to fuck off. He sends her in the wrong direction. They find the cave in the Philippines.
They find the
with
ships.
2 Spanish galleons.
Yeah.
Chock full of treasure and other shit.
Full-blown gold.
And then Joe Braddock shows up. They hide. Mark Wahlberg and Holland hide in the ships. Joe Braddock pulls them conveniently out of the hole in the roof of the cave.
It's like so perfectly situated underneath this Amazonian forest.
Filipino, please.
Sorry, Filipino forest.
It's not the Amazon. It's Uncharted. Okay, it's in the Philippines.
That's right.
Yeah.
We don't know where to chart, except it's the Philippines.
No.
Yeah, and they find exactly the perfect opening above the ships, which no one ever fucking saw in millions of years that it's been there.
Yeah.
Hundreds,
also, like
thousands.
No one had gone. I mean, yeah. I don't know. I don't know how they figured that one.
None of this movie is within the realm of possibility anyway. So they're like, why the fuck not?
Yeah.
Anyway, we're gonna get 1 helicopter to lift
2 tiny cargo helicopters.
Fucking giant ass.
Yeah, they lift those things up, which I think. I just like again, speaking of the ridiculousness of it, while I'm a lawyer in the state of New York, not an aeronautical engineer of any sort, I just don't think it's possible that they could lift a Spanish
Is it
galleon.
because they're
Those
all
things
made
are
of like
fucking big?
Because they're made of wood?
What?
The boats.
They're still heavy. It doesn't matter.
They gotta be like,
and they're full of gold.
And Mark Wahlberg. He's in the boat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and Tom
he's
Holland
packing.
just put on like 30 pounds of muscle, so let's got that on top.
Tom Holland is 30 pounds of muscle, baby.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And a little mouth. But so they lift that up. There's just the insane ending kind of set piece, which is long and absurd and kind of I was really checked out at that point. Mercifully, the film ends like as they fly away. It doesn't have like a total like post. It has a postscript, but not like a total like like.
And then we
Tom,
talk.
Let's keep in touch. Add me on Facebook. Like it doesn't have that. It's just kind of like let's just fly away.
Yeah. If you forward through that bullshit action scene, you're like, all right, cool.
They gladly give reparations to the Filipino government for all the cool stuff Spain did while they were there.
When one of the ships crashes into the Philippine waters.
Both of them do.
Oh, both of them do.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. Yeah. That's right.
And Joe Braddock dies. She gets crushed under it. Then
Does
they
she,
see
though?
Chloe Fraser figures it out finally, and she's like, "You fucking twats!
You sent me the wrong way, didn't you?"
Motherfuckers. And then
No one
they
knows what
take
she
off
sounds
with
like.
a little bit of the gold. Mid-credit scene, and they're we find out Sam is alive. Actually, he's in
in prison.
He's in a Turkish prison. He's in the
He's been there since the nuns sent him.
yeah, that was actually that's
the punishment.
The juvenile prison that he
What
went
the
to.
fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's still writing Tom Holland these postcards being like, "Hey, I never hear from you."
Hey man, what's the deal?
Yeah, maybe get me out of here. So he's writing postcards. Why doesn't he ever say, "Hey, I'm in this prison"?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Where's he getting
Hey,
postcards
Tom,
in prison?
I'm in the prison.
Where's
Please
he getting it?
contact a lawyer. Yeah, and then they end up in, I believe they get charted down to South America way.
Elsewhere.
And there's there's like a credit scene that kind of sets up the
possible second version of this movie.
That has to go through. It has to happen now.
It looks like, yeah.
I can't leave it on. I can't leave the rest of the journey uncharted.
Now we got to find out.
Yeah.
More of nothing.
It's an interesting artifact of a weird time. It came out in 2022. That's another thing.
It's like shocking how recent it is and how just forgettable and
how also no one. I mean,
this feels like it was made in 2008 or something.
If you're the one person out there listening to this episode, God bless you.
Fuck.
No one has seen this movie or cares. Why are we doing this?
I know, but it's because there's a second one coming out, babe. That's why we're doing it. Possibly.
Yeah. Well, also, I mean, Sony did pay us a couple hundo to talk about this film.
Sony, man, they got a couple shitters in their pockets. Okay, they got some. Sony.
They've dumped a couple in their pants.
They've dumped hard.
Definitely.
This right up there.
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, Sony's been making movies forever, man. They're fucking
make your movies, make your songs. Sony
fly around, Uncharted around the world. All right. Do you want to get out of here? I don't get anything else to say about this film.
I'm surprised we had such feelings about it.
I mean, I'm not, actually. I had a lot of feelings, bursting at the seams with feelings. The next 2 weeks, we're going to do Venom 1 and 2.
Hell yeah,
because
baby.
Venom, the Last Dance Venom is coming out.
Venom the Last Dance.
I think from here on out, we're just going to do non-stop Ruben Fleischer films.
This is a Ruben Fleischer podcast.
This is now the Low Fleischer. I'm Fleischerthan, and you're
I'm Fleishy.
Fleishanka.
Fleishanka.
Yeah. Thank you for listening.
Woo!
It's been The Low Ceiling. I've been John.
I've been Pre. Go chart something.
Go chart a course to a better film in cinemas this Friday. Transformers 1.
Oh God, not
Check
that one.
it. Bye.
Bye.